Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be discussing kind of something that we discussed a couple of days before, but that is the implementation of, oh, that's the wrong one. Right over here, we did talk about this in a previous video. It's pretty much the implementation of AI offering the player kingdom a peace offer. As you can see right here, this is kind of like the prototype on how it would look. Pop up on the right side of your screen. It pretty much has a courier with a peace officer with a peace offer for the peace with Western Empire has arrived. It's not going to say exactly this. I'm pretty sure they're going to change it up a little bit. But it's going to pop up. You can click on it and you can either accept or decline. And what I stated in that previous video and why I think this is very, very, very good for the game. Not only is it a start to the AI interactions with the player, which can go a lot further and a lot more interaction can happen. It's just, it adds so much immersion. Because it feels like it's not just a one-way thing where the player always has to make the first step. You know, having the AI make the step towards the player, it feels so, it feels alive. It really does. It really does help the game feel a lot more alive, and that is, you know, a thing people do talk about. It is a thing that is talked about a lot, where those feelings of the game kind of feeling like, if the player doesn't do anything, not much shifts. Obviously, like settlements and stuff will shift and all that, but the AI won't really interact with the player unless they try to attack the player, right? But yeah, I think this is a very good step, and I think obviously a lot more stuff can come from this, because the same way this can happen, the same way you can get notifications of a clan leader. Hopefully, this gets added to the game as well. Even if it doesn't, I'm pretty sure modders can use this same template in the code to make these type of mods as well, where let's say a clan leader goes up to you, you get this notification, he says, hey, can I join? And then you either can accept it or decline it. Same way you see it on the screen right over here. You can do this for what's it called, even prisoners. Prisoners trying to pay their way out for you, you can accept or decline. What else? Quests. Like let's say someone has a quest for you, they run up to you and like, hey, can you do this quest for me real quick? There's so many things that can be done with this, and I think this is very good. And I think along the journey, if we have more of these, like, where the AI approaches you, the game will just feel 10 times, maybe even 100 times more, just like really, like, while you might be doing something, you're always going to be faced with bigger decisions. And it does remind me of a game. I don't know if you guys have played it before. It used to be a game on on like mobile devices. I don't know if it's still on there. I couldn't really find it anymore. I don't remember if it was on, because you have the App Store for iPhones, and then you have like the Google Store for Androids. But there was a game. It was supposed to kind of like, it's like a simulation game. It was like a 2D game where you what do you call it? It was like the Oregon Trail. It was like that big migration people did back in the day to kind of move out to the west. It was kind of it was like simulating that, and as you kept going, you kept getting faced with these like decisions, whether are you gonna do this or you're gonna do that, and you like had like, what I mean. You always have to make those decisions, and based on those decisions, that's how what's it called? Obviously, how successful you would be. And I really like when that type of stuff is added to the game, where you have to kind of make these decisions. And I think more of these would be very, very good. With all that being said, we have some more replies from the developers down here. So I wanted to go over that and see what is happening with this implementation. I think someone commented on my YouTube video saying it is approved, and I'm pretty sure I kind of skimmed over. I didn't read everything that was said. One of these posts has the more information on how it was approved. But alrighty, so what do we have? First, you have a player saying, no offense, but if I was a developer in your company and saw the post on Slack, I would not read it. We already went over this post, actually. My bad. This is the post that I needed to get to. So we have a player saying, wait, so are you saying the vote that really only costs... Ooh, okay, this is a whole different conversation. What are we talking about here? Oh, okay. So what we're currently talking about Okay, so we're talking about a whole different problem. The dev states, also I see something weird at cost for overriding voting while implementing above feature. Okay, so it looks like there's a problem. There's a problem with the cost that you need to actually pay whenever you try to override a popular vote. Okay, he shows it in the code. He says we should divide the difference to 3 because we multiply with fully push influence cost. Okay, so it looks like there's some mathematical problems in the code. Okay. So this is an example. Make a piece of Britannia. We got 1 for slightly, 20. Okay. I'm kind of confused. So I'm guessing it's people are overpaying currently. Overpaying influence to override votes. Is that the problem that we're currently seeing? Let's see what the dev has to say. So he says, I think current overriding a vote result cost is too expensive. Okay, yeah, that's what it is. Player cannot override most decisions, maybe 90 to 95%. That is true because the prices are huge. Like, when do you really have 1800 influence with all the influence nerfs we've seen? It's very hard to get to that number. And especially, like, let's say, you might have enough for this vote, but what if another vote literally very similar to this one comes up, let's say not even a year into the in-game time. Like, you're not going to have this again by that time. He says, if you examine the code block, you can see the problem. We have 3 vote types. We have slightly favor, which costs 20 influence. Obviously, it was buffed from 10. Then we have 60, which is strongly favor, buffed from 40. And then fully push, which is 150 influence, was 100. Okay. Cost perfect. Okay. And then he states, king have to spend 150 influence per each effect. Okay, in effects, I didn't go over here. Slightly favor gives 1 effect, strongly favor is 2 effect, and fully push is 3 effect. And right here, if you want to override the vote as the king, you need to pay 150 influence per effect. So if somebody fully pushes, if an AI fully pushes, let's say one AI fully pushes, which he spends 150, the cost effect is 3. So that means you have to pay 450 influence to override his 150 influence. Is that what it is? This is kind of confusing. He states, after kings assumed selected fully push at opposite before overriding currently, and that seems like a bug. I asked team about it if it is intended or bug. For example, if you have 8 clans want a war/peace, 1 fully push, 4 strongly favor, and 3 slightly favor, the total effect is, first you have the 1 times 3, that's 3. Then we have 4 times 2, which is 8, and then 3 times 1, which is another 3. So all in all, you have 3 plus 8, what is that, 11, plus another 3, 14. And then he says king has to spend 14 minus 3, which is 11, times 150, which is 1800 to override a vote currently. I think this should be 14 minus 3 times 50, and that should equal 700, or at most 975. Then he states, of course, this is just a side problem, of course important for gameplay, found while examining these codes for implementing peace offer from player's enemy. I agree. I think it should be a lot less. I think if they could find a way to do a lot less, I think that is the right way, because most of the time it's almost impossible, like he states, to override these votes. So I do think for gameplay and for the the overriding of a vote to actually be used more often, I think it should be lowered. Not lowered to the point where you could do it every single time, just willy-nilly, but I think to 700, yeah, I think it's good. He says, I couldn't agree. I completely agree. Yes, I think it is definitely needed. Alrighty, now moving on to what we were looking for. I think this is right here, if I'm not mistaken. We have 2 more replies. Alright, first reply. So dev states, it is accepted and will be added for player and king scenario. So he's obviously talking about this right over here that we saw, the peace offers. which is very good. He says, I also want to see this in player in vassal. Wait. I want to see this in player is vassal scenario, but I accept it can be a bit weird. Still, I prefer to add it. Even player is vassal with high decline influence cost. So if a player is vassal, still opponent faction will not initiate peace. Our kingdom will have to make inside voting. Okay, so he states this is only if you have your own kingdom. You know, he says he couldn't get it to the to the situation where the player is actually a vassal and not the ruler. But I think this is still a good first step. Then he states, in the future, this feature can be changed, and opposite side offer can go to secondary voting inside our kingdom for both player is king and vassal scenarios. There you go. He says in the future, it is possible. We will add this feature as we talk above. We will add this feature first. I cannot read, Jesus. There we go. Then he states, I will try to make this feature merge to 1.6.1. It's test started. Maybe I can't. Okay, so probably see it at 1.6.2 in the latest, which is fine. Again, I think this is a very, very, very good step in the right direction. It opens up a lot. Then he states, as it is now in a situation where player's side is winning, there's no chance of peace. What do you mean? Then Dev states, actually, you can still initiate peace voting inside your kingdom in a scenario player kingdom is winning your war. You can still get a tribute payment, okay? However, I accept in some cases player is stuck on war and his own clans do not accept peace with conditions shown at diplomacy window. Other clans do not like shown tribute deal. However, it is still not guaranteed with new addition. Player will get good peace offers from enemy. Player will be able to get a bit better offers than what he see at his diplomacy window. Now player will have two choices. He will wait his opponent. I cannot read. Jesus. He can wait for his enemy to send a bit better offer so he can initiate a peace voting with shown conditions. Okay. So what he's saying is now you're going to have two options. You can initiate the peace or you can wait for the enemy to initiate the peace for you. And you can probably get a better deal if you wait for the enemy. Again, very good. I think this is a very, very good addition with a lot of good things that can happen in the future because of it. So yeah, I'm all on board. I can't wait for it. Let me know what you guys think. Ask me any questions and concerns. And like always, stay safe.